What's goody? Hey man, so we need to talk about Anthony Davis and this whole situation surrounding him because recently there has been a ton of news, a ton of reports about Anthony Davis over pretty much just the last 24 hours, some conflicting reports and everything like that. Yesterday, if you've been tapped in, you peeped that originally we saw that Anthony Davis's injury in his hand, that torn ligament from that play, that it didn't look like he really got injured at all. But obviously, I'm not saying he's faking it. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it looked like didn't much happen, and then all of a sudden he has a torn ligament, and now we're all like, damn, AD can't stay healthy. Now reports came out yesterday that would need surgery and that he would be out for like at least a couple of months. But then later throughout the night, after that report came out, like hours later, and everybody's speculating and doing all these stuff and doing all this stuff and making videos about it, which is a good reason I'm really glad I waited to make a video about it. I saw another report come up on my phone, and I don't know how true it is, that Anthony Davis will still get a second opinion about the surgery thing, and that's not a foregone conclusion just yet. So I don't know how long Anthony Davis is going to be out, but whether it's the 6-week minimum that we think it is, or it's the 2 to 4 months at least, Anthony Davis trade value has gone down tremendously over the last 24 hours and just over the last couple of weeks as he's been dealing with that torn ligament in his hand, or the last couple of days as he's been dealing with that torn ligament in his hand. And originally when he tore that ligament, I thought that the trade market for him would be pretty much dead. I just figured the teams really wouldn't be willing to buy in on a power forward who's had an injury history. I mean, we're talking about a guy that throughout his career has had multiple seasons playing less than 60 games. I mean, we go back to 2022, 2023, he played 56, the year before that 40, the year before that 36, the year before that 62, the year before that 56. And then you go back to 2015-16, it's a 61. Now for New Orleans, he was a lot healthier. It was 60 plus or 75 plus every single year, except for that last year where right before he got traded to LA. But you go to LA, man, and it's like consistent years of maybe 50 or less. There was a couple of years where it's 40 or less, and it's consistently 60 or less games. Last season, he played less than 60 games. Last season he played a total of 51 games. This season he's played 20 games. He's going to be out for a significant amount of time as we get closer and closer to the All-Star break. I mean, I just didn't think teams were going to be willing to buy in on a guy that is his age and has been so injured throughout his career, because I think Anthony Davis, let me check his age right now. I think Anthony Davis is 32. Anthony Davis is a 32-year-old forward who's going to be needing to get paid after this season. I believe his contract is up after this season with no player option or anything like that. So, yeah, right now, I don't know. His contract's not up yet. 2025, 2026, He's got more. Oh, but he's looking for an extension. That's what it is. He's not trying to get re-signed. He's looking for an extension. He wants to be extended pretty much as soon as he gets traded. And he's been pretty much kind of asking for a max extension. Now, I think with this entry that's completely off the table. I think he's absolutely delusional if he thinks he's going to get that. I wouldn't be shocked if his camp maybe asked for it or something close to it, just to maybe try to get teams to bargain with him so they can get an amount that they really wanted secretly anyway. I heard that number from the homie P from Numbers on the Board. Shout out. I don't know him or anything, but shout out to him. I be watching him. I heard that idea, and I was like, yeah, I've heard of teams doing that, and I wouldn't be shocked if they did that. But I personally believe that there's no possible 0% chance that he gets a max extension with this injury. But some ideas have been thrown out there about the trade market for him maybe being higher now than ever before, just because there are going to be teams who have money, who have options, who won't be willing to extend him for a max, but who would be willing to trade for him if the price is low enough, because, hey, they could see themselves taking a shot with a guy that's Anthony Davis. Maybe if he's healthy for a full playoff run, you could see a team like the Pistons wanting him so they could maybe see, hey, could we win the East with him if he has a full healthy playoff run? I could see the Celtics, man. I haven't heard too many people talk about this, but I don't know what it would require, like Anthony Simons and what else to make the money match do. But if you get Anthony Davis, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and you can get them all healthy next year, I think that is a phenomenal team. I've heard people talk about the Raptors getting him. I've heard people talk about there was some more. Oh, the Bulls. I've heard people talk about the Bulls getting him, and then it's just like there's options for Anthony Davis to go to. There's not too many teams on the West Coast, on the western side of the bracket, that I think would be really looking for an Anthony Davis type of player that I've heard of, or at least that I can think of off the top of my head. Lakers could use them, but I'm just joking. But there are teams out there that you could convince me that the Pistons would be willing to take a flyer on Anthony Davis if it's not something they love, if they don't have to give up a Ron Holland. I've heard that they really are tied into Tobias Harris, like in the locker room and everything like that. So I don't know how true that is and everything like that. So that would change things. But I could see the Pistons doing that if it doesn't even involve more than 1 first-round pick or maybe none, just because of how injured Anthony Davis is and knowing that he wants an extension. I could see the same thing happening with the Raptors or the Celtics. And while I do like the fit better with the Celtics than the Pistons, especially because he kind of wants to play the 4, and the Pistons at least would allow him to do that less than the Raptors because we need a big man in there. We need a 5. I could see certain teams out there being willing to go look and go get an Anthony Davis type of player if the value is low enough. while he's been a guy that's been injured, when he's playing in these 20 games, he's still averaging a 20-point, 11 rebound, double-double. He doesn't shoot threes anymore. We know that. But he's going to be a top defender in the NBA for most of the time that he's playing. His stock numbers are going to be solid. He's going to always be at 2.5, maybe 3 a game, or 3 stocks a game. You know what you're going to get from Anthony Davis when he's on a good team, and you can expect him to be a 20-10, 20-12, 20-11 guy on night in, night out basis. And if he's got the right guy around him, if he was on a team with Cade Cunningham, yeah, you could convince me AD would go back to being a 25-11 guy when he's healthy. You could convince me for a playoff run, you could get a consistent 28-14 out of AD with 3 blocks for a playoff run, sure, or 3 stocks for a playoff run. Sure, I would believe that because he is still that talented of a player even at the age of 32. The thing is just the injuries and the extension that he wants. So I don't know exactly what the market is going to be for AD, but I would be very, very interested to see if they are going to trade him. Now, reports came out today that they don't necessarily feel pressured to trade him, I believe. So I also wouldn't be shocked if they just kind of stood still with what they have and said, okay, next season we're going to have Cooper Flag, Kyrie Irving back, Anthony Davis back, and another lottery pick probably because we're bad. Could that lottery pick jump up again? Who knows? Maybe that's more compensation for the Luka trade. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? I could see the Mavericks doing this either way, and I personally believe with the value so low, the best option for them, especially with the team that they have right now, is probably just to chill with what they have, because even if you don't love the idea of keeping AD just because you're so worried about the health, you can play his value up a little bit more next season with a healthy team surrounded by Cooper Flag, Kyrie Irving, and whoever else y'all get in the offseason to piece this team around with the current pieces y'all already have. And you can make him look good enough for the first 15 to 20 games that you sell him for a super, super high price. And then you're like, okay, you got what you needed out of AD, and now you like the team and you feel even more comfortable because you aren't constantly thinking, what if AD goes down for 4 weeks? What if AD goes down for a playoff series? You aren't constantly thinking about that in the back of your head anymore. So I could see this going either way, and I feel like if I were the Dallas Mavericks, especially because they still have an interim GM. So do you really trust the interim GM over there to go out there and make these moves when it's surrounding your superstar player, one of your superstar players that are you really going to trust him to trade him right now when you don't have to because the deal isn't expiring? It's not like he's completely assed out or said he wants to go. It's not like he said, hey, trade me or else I'm not going to play. It's not like that. He's an injured guy and his value is low right now. You could hold on to him for sure. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching as always. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if y'all enjoyed this video. And please don't forget to keep God first as always, all right? Let me know what type of content y'all want to see and everything like that. And let's stay tapped into this situation. The trade deadline is looking like it could be very, very boring. But at the same time, could go either way. Peace out.